Hey guys, my name is Mitsumiao, and you may have noticed that I've been doing this Mailbox series for a while now. I get a lot of amazing questions, many of them spark a great discussion, there's a lot of fantastic ideas, but I also get some questions that are not so great. And so what I wanted to do today is highlight some of those questions, either just because they're flat out ridiculous, some of them would be game breaking. I'm not gonna include any names, we're not trying to put anyone down here, but I thought that this would be a lot of fun. You guys seem to enjoy this every time that I do one of these kinds of videos, and today is one of those days. And so to start things off, the first question is, what do you think of an operator like Wraith from Apex with voices in her head, like when they get aimed at, they get an audio cue? I don't know how to respond to this. So I get where you're coming from. You could try to adapt maybe some sort of technology into the game that will allow you to have a threat detector. This is something that we see in the most recent Call of Duty, and it can be really viable, especially in something of those battle royales. Having that information where if someone is looking in your general area can be really advantageous. But the idea of someone whispering sweet nothings into your ear when someone is looking in your area, Rainbow Six Siege is incredibly fast paced. If someone is looking at you, they're probably taking a shot. They're already going to be dropping you in a split second later. Having a voice or an audio call out isn't going to make a difference at all. Now, I will give it to you that if there was a UI element that popped up on your screen and gave you an indicator of where someone was if they were looking at you, that could be halfway decent in some situations. How many times have you quickly peeked into a room, ducked behind cover, didn't see anyone, but thought the coast was clear? But in reality, there was a defender in the corner. You just didn't realize it because they didn't take a shot revealing their position. You then storm on in thinking it's okay, and they immediately take you out. If you had this UI indicator, then hopefully you could use that information to your advantage and then come out on top. That might be all right. It still seems very situational because of how quick the TTK is in this game, but it's hard to say. And so overall, I definitely don't think we need to have a character that is literally hearing voices from another dimension. There could be maybe a way that Ubisoft makes this work. The next question is, what do you think of an offensive operator that uses water grenades that can push people out of corners? Okay, I like this idea for a couple of reasons. The first one is that it sounds like you just described using a water balloon, but in a tactical setting. The second is that this sounds a lot like Nomad. And the third is that I don't believe that's the way that water works. I know I drink a lot of water, but I'm not an expert on the topic. But to my understanding, you can't actually compress water. And so you're basically just going to be throwing a water balloon at someone and splashing them, and it's not gonna flood the entire room full of water and push them out of the corner. That's just not the way that it works. Now, I do understand where you're coming from. We have Nomad in Siege who is used to watch your back, but what if you could use her in more of an offensive capability? It's kind of hard to use her in that capacity. So having some sort of nade that flushes people out from their hiding spot doesn't seem too unreasonable. How Ubisoft would be able to do that in a realistic or let's be real, Rainbow Six Siege isn't realistic anymore. It's hardly even authentic, but they try at least to make it somewhat authentic. How they would be able to do that, I'm not entirely certain. But in general, I love the fact that you basically just described a water balloon, and so I'm gonna give this question a 10 out of 10. The next question is, what if they made an offensive operator that could control a swarm of bugs or hornets like a drone that could slow people's movement down similar to Legion and maybe do 5 HP damage every 5 seconds? I don't know about you guys, but I love this idea. Can you imagine a bug whisperer character being introduced into Rainbow Six Siege, guiding them around the map, honing in and then slowing down their movement so that you can swoop in and take them out? That sounds incredible. It sounds ridiculous, but it sounds incredible. The thing is you could maybe try to make this work in more of a realistic sense where maybe they're drones, bee drones, and then they can kind of do what you just described. Also could have some counters in the form of mute so that there was some way of stopping them. But that actually is a really good question. How do you stop the swarm? Do you take shots at them? Does it have an HP that slowly whittles down? Do you melee it a couple of times when it's in your vicinity? How is all of that going to work? There's a lot of logistic issues with this idea that I'm just not seeing. And so I'm gonna go with a no on this one. The next question is, what if a bond of charges would stick to enemies and they would have to go through a little animation where they would have to spam F to get them off, otherwise they would take 30 HP damage? What do you think about that, or would it be obsolete? Yeah, of course this would be obsolete. Now, I will admit that it would be kind of hilarious if you use this offensively. Instead of opening up the wall like you're supposed to as a hard breacher, using this as an actual offensive gadget to stick someone could be a funny way at taking them out. You peek around the corner really quickly, pre-fire with the gadget, hopefully it sticks onto someone, and then when they're going through that short little animation to take it off, you round the corner and use that window to come out on top. Like, that could be hilarious. But how often is that actually going to happen? Rainbow Six Siege, as we all know, has a blazing fast TTK. You peek your head out around a corner trying to use this troll tactic. If they have the same accuracy as you, you might get the pellets to land, but they probably landed a headshot against you, and so now you're back at the spawn screen watching your teammates for the rest of the match. Like, it would be useless. And while yes, this would probably generate a lot of laughs, it could be a lot of fun in like content creation wise, I just don't see Ubisoft actually spending the time to implement something that really wouldn't provide much value whatsoever. The next question is, wouldn't it be nice if alpha packs worked like Apex, where after a certain amount of packs, you would automatically get a legendary? Now, you might be thinking right now, this doesn't sound like a terrible idea. This actually sounds like a fantastic one. What's going on? And I agree. Ubisoft, do this. Your alpha pack system is terrible. Get rid of duplicates altogether, including the legendaries. Make it so that after a set amount of time, you get a guaranteed legendary. After opening up 100 alpha packs and only getting one legendary item, it is not rewarding. It's supposed to be a reward. That's what the alpha packs are, and they just do not accomplish that. I understand that Ubisoft wants them to be rare. They don't want everyone running around with these unique items. I get that, but at the same time, the people that are opening up hundreds and hundreds of alpha packs are your dedicated players. Reward them. Give them a slightly better chance to actually get the item that they've been looking and desiring for sometimes years now. That doesn't seem unreasonable. I would love for Ubisoft to finally improve their alpha pack system. The next question is, if Ella is supposed to be able to take on multiple targets, why don't they buff Blackbeard again in order to counter her? Why did they nerf him and then bring out another operator that is meant to be overpowered? I honestly don't know where this is coming from. Yes, Ella was designed originally to be a character that could take out multiple targets, but she was not designed, I don't think, inherently to be overpowered. That was the end result. I don't know how Ubisoft didn't expect that to happen. High rate of fire, crazy high magazine size, minimal recoil, a gadget that complements being aggressive. Like, of course she's going to be strong, but I don't think that was actually their intention from the very beginning, to make her flat out overpowered. But the idea of buffing one of the most notorious operators in Rainbow Six Siege has caused probably more problems than any other character in this game, Blackbeard, just so that he can counter another supposed overpowered character, doesn't seem like a good way of trying to balance things out. Now, I do know that some people try to make the argument that if every character is too strong, all of them are overpowered, then none are. They all have their gimmicks, and some games have attempted this, but I've never really been a fan of this design philosophy. I would rather, if there is someone who is a bit too powerful, just bring them down a notch. I think that is much more reasonable. And so no, I never want to see those two operators back to their original power, because they were some of the most busted characters ever introduced into this game. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. As I mentioned, this was just supposed to be fun, and so I hope you guys enjoyed. I get a lot of amazing questions for my Mailbox series, but as you can tell, some of them also do get a bit ridiculous. As for the green screen thing, I'm liking it. You guys also seem to be enjoying it as well, and so we'll probably continue on with whatever this is for the foreseeable future. It may not be in every video, but I'd like to kind of make it more of a regular thing because I'm also having a lot of fun with it. But yeah, guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.